welcome to TheoTrade. This is Don Kaufman, July 29th, 2020. A few minutes after the cash close here on this Wednesday afternoon with the S&Ps closing up some 36 handles. You know, this was a really highly anticipated trading session that amounted to absolutely nothing. You know, you had the monsters of tech, our tech titans testimony, okay? And what did it amount to? Not much, but I think everybody kind of enjoyed watching Bezos, Zuckerberg kind of squirm at the exact same time there. But, you know, that really didn't provide any trade action per se. Looking specifically at things like Apple, looking at Google. Again, most of these were actually bidding prior to any of that testimony. On the other hand, we also heard, of course, from none other than Jerome Powell, which, hey, listen, okay, what is Jerome Powell going to say at this point in time when the marketplace is facing ultimately very close to all-time highs in the middle of a massive recession and the Fed pumping liquidity in? I mean, listen, the only right thing for the Fed to do today was exactly what they did. I call it the Punxsutawney Phil. They went out there, saw their shadow, and they're going to hide for another 6 weeks until something negative happens. The Fed, come on, they're not going to say anything. He didn't say anything. He was completely really quiet in there. Didn't give us too many hints other than to say, hey, things are not necessarily under control. The future is uncertain. Rates are going to be low for a long time. But we already knew all of that. Now, with the S&Ps having rallied today, there's a few things that are a bit of a standout here. Number one, okay, the S&Ps being up 34 handles, they actually outpaced the Nasdaq. I was a little surprised by that. It was actually the financials, okay, that kind of led most of this move. Now, you're kind of thinking, it's the financials, the Fed caused this. Look, the rally actually happened before the Fed happening right in this neighborhood over here, okay? And if anything, the Fed actually caused the financials to pull back a little bit until ultimately the cash closed. Nevertheless, the financials, again, very surprisingly, led some of the rally today. And the financials, if you haven't looked at them as of late, okay, what have they done? Absolutely nothing. This is one of the largest trading sessions they've had now in literally in weeks. They have been a non-event. So moving forward, I mean, today almost felt like a little bit of a mulligan. Yeah, there's some earnings coming out after the bell here on this Wednesday, but nothing too substantial. It's all coming down to some of the earnings specifically tomorrow. And everybody that's big is coming out tomorrow. Like, we're going to have to deal with Apple. We're going to have to deal with Facebook. We're going to have to deal with Amazon. You're going to have to deal with Google, all literally coming out effectively in the same, 30-minute period. What's $5-6 trillion of market cap amongst friends? But to look at these earnings announcements, I've had a lot of emails, a lot of people ask me, what do you think, of like Microsoft? First of all, this is prior to the Microsoft earnings. What do you think of Microsoft before the earnings? Listen, when it comes to earnings, I'm just using Microsoft for a quick example here. When it comes to earnings, I do not like to handicap the fundamentals at all because I just don't care, right? If it comes to Apple, I mean, I got to listen to people talk about, their iPhone sales, and none of it matters right now. None of it. Okay. We know that we just came off of one of the worst quarters, okay, in history, period. Okay. We also know that many of these firms, including Apple, probably are not going to give forward guidance. Okay. Fundamentals, it's just off the table. The only thing that you have to go on when it comes to these earnings announcements, okay, is what the marketplace is anticipating movement to be. And I'll just give you a quick example over here in Apple, okay, where the expected move is just shy of about $15. All right, tomorrow, that's what you have to go on. Now, you can make some decisions. You can say, you know what, I want to get bullish or I want to get bearish. Most of us that have some experience, though, are going to be trading in or around that expected move. I mean, we could take the stance that, hey, we're going to stay, inside the expected move, right? So we're going to go up $15 or down $15. We're either going to stay inside that expected move in the happy place, or we're going to move outside of it. And that is for, okay, traders to determine. This is a very efficient number, though, okay? And again, when it comes down to earnings right now, I don't think that there's any handicapping, all right? And I'll use another example here because, again, I've exchanged a lot of emails about earnings lately. I'll give you another quick example. If you looked at Starbucks, the earnings were absolutely hideous, just downright hideous, and the market rallied. But the important takeaway, okay, from Starbucks is what the market rallied to. Not that it rallied at all, because again, it's neither here nor there. Listen, order flow dictates what's going to happen. But you see right here what you're actually in. This is Starbucks, and this is Think Back. Think Back, you're looking at yesterday's close. Not today's close. I'm actually taking you back to yesterday's close. I'm saying yesterday, Starbucks, okay, looked like it was going to move $3.50, right? So it was what, a $74 and change stock. Add $3.50 to that. That stock should have moved right in the neighborhood of about $78 at some point today. And lo and behold, we take it all the way down to the 1 day, 1 minute. What I want you to see is it did precisely what it was supposed to do. And I can go on and on and on of all the different, you think this stock is going to do this or that, okay? It doesn't matter what you think. You have, okay, these mega market caps that are all coming out with earnings tomorrow. And I'll give you the trade opportunity, okay? I don't think the trade opportunity is necessarily in Apple, or it's necessarily in Facebook or Amazon and Google. And I've got a lot of positions in some of the tech stocks now. I think that the trade itself, though, could actually be done in something like the Qs. But I'm not the only one that believes this, because if you take a quick glance right here at the QQQ and you look right there, okay, the volatility is actually pumped up just a little bit, okay, in the next 2 days versus, for instance, the next 9 days. The earnings that are coming out tomorrow are so pivotal that it's actually moving a major index volatility. At that is rare. We are sitting on a $6 expected move. And the way to go after this is if you were to think that, hey, maybe one of these companies is going to miss big or hit it big, trade for a move outside that $6. And that's something I'll actually cover a little bit, tomorrow morning, kind of live in TheoTrade. If you think the big moves are coming over there, a $6 expected move, just Thursday and Friday to go, that's, you're in the big leagues right now. That's actually a fairly substantial expected move. And you got to determine, are we going to end up inside the $6 or outside the $6? And I'll give you my take on that, of course, tomorrow morning inside of the TheoTrade chat room. Now, switching gears for just a moment, okay? I am not the market technician, but I will take a look, of course, at a 30-day 1 hour from time to time, specifically here in the S&Ps, okay? The S&Ps are in very large part being driven by the Nasdaq, but why the S&Ps? Because we're just a hop, a skip, and a jump, all right, away from a very definitive breakout to the upside. You got to be aware. Give yourself orientation of where we are. Over here, this line, okay, that's 32.11. And you'll see some of the recent highs, 32.84. We're about 30 S&P handles away from that, okay, from a full-fledged breakout to the upside. Now, why I mention it, again, with this kind of mega market cap coming out with earnings, again, you got to have orientation of where you are, because a 30-point move to the upside on Friday is plausible, all right? And a breakout to the upside, that would be big time, really big time stuff, because the marketplace net, again, you look at the 30-day 1 hour, what have we been doing the last couple of weeks? July, it's pretty much like a moot point, nothing. And if you're not convinced inside of the S&Ps, I'll take you here, okay, over to the Nasdaq for just a moment. And the Nasdaq, which has been construed, and again, I get all these people talking about, oh, the Nasdaq's ripping to new highs all day. Okay, hey, okay, calm down there, cowboy. The Nasdaq has done nothing for the month of July, like literally nothing. what was it? It was 10,600. Where are we right now? 10,600. It's been a fun month. Okay. The rally is all but done right now inside of the Nasdaq. But again, these earnings announcements, okay, I'm not worried about the individual stocks. I'm worried about the possibility of the breakout to the upside. And to cover that, this is where you may want to use, ideas like ratio back spreads. Again, we could be on the brink of a very substantial move. Now, if you notice for a second, I'm carrying specifically here in the Nasdaq, okay? I'm carrying negative delta. That means I've got bearish positions on. That is why I am concerned with a rip to the upside. That's why I'm going to use trades like ratio back spreads, because if we do rip to the upside and we do explode to the upside, I want to be covered. Listen, I'm always thinking about markets, okay? Like playing a game of chess. I'm trying to get 4, 5 moves ahead. I mean, how hard can this be, right? Market can go up, market can go down, it can stay flat. Right now, though, given the fact that we have, $5 or $6 trillion of market cap, literally, okay? You think about $5 trillion of market cap. I've been in this business a little over 20 years. I remember when the whole value of the S&P was only $5 trillion. That's sad to say, but it's true. And the reality is now you've actually got, this is going to be the biggest Thursday nights, the biggest earnings announcement night in the history, okay, of any marketplace. Can say that without unequivocation. Why? Market caps have never been this big, and we've never had this many major market caps come out with earnings on one evening. Okay? I am thinking defensively. I'm thinking I'm negative delta. I'm covered to the downside, meaning that when I say I'm covered to the downside, go down. Come on, 9,600. Gold, Jerry, gold. But I also have to think on the defense side. And on the defense side, if we actually rip to the upside, quite frankly, I need a back spread in there. I need in some way, shape, or form to cover my proverbial behind to the upside if we are to rip to the upside. And again, I wanted to give you a much broader take on the marketplace. Last thing we're going to look at in tonight's video is to kind of give you orientation of where we are in terms of expected move. This too keeps me a little bit like, on my game. The expected move this week, the upside of the expected move is just shy of 3,300. We're still, okay, almost 40 S&P handles off of it. This week has been fairly, muted in terms of overall volatility. But a big cautionary tale to you here. Okay? 2 weeks ago, we didn't get even close to really tagging the edge of the expected move. Last week, we didn't even get close to tagging the edge of the expected move. Okay? Mark my words. I am fully prepared for us to tag the upper or lower edge of the expected move, okay, between now and Friday, right? So Thursday, Friday, in terms of trade, let's actually get ready for some larger movement. Another portion of me, and again, this is just my take as a trader, I don't think that we're going to wait for these earnings announcements to come out. I think a lot of people, are going to position themselves prior to the earnings announcements coming out. Nevertheless, that the marketplace, has quite a bit of movement that it's capable of doing prior to the earnings announcements because of those positions being put on. Net, it means know what your risk is right now, We're primed to move very, very big, and we're very likely to move a substantial amount. Get your risk in check. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here at TheoTrade. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.